The story of Henry Clay, tonight, on this special edition of 60 Minutes. Using our new special technology, we are able to travel back to pre-Civil War America to talk with Henry Clay in his final days. Join us as we discuss how one man saved the Union from falling into a civil war years before it happened. In 1812, you were one of the leading war hawks.
On to Canada! I was a war hawk, and I did favor war with Britain in 1812.
Hello, I'm Max Hubbard. Welcome to a special edition of 60 Minutes. Tonight, we will be talking with one of the men who countless times saved the Union from splitting in two. Watch as we talk about his accomplishments, his compromises, and his life. Let's start with the basics. When were you born?
I was born on April 12th, 1777, in Hanover County, Virginia.
Now, many people do not know this, but you were the seventh of 9 children.
With that many siblings, you can imagine the chaos, especially when my father died when I was 4 years old.
You were even a slaveholder by that age too?
My father left me and my brothers 2 slaves each, and my mother 18. And this was actually quite common. Many kids had their own personal slaves in the South.
Now, let's get to your career. In 1812, you were one of the leading war hawks.
On to Canada! I was a war hawk, and I did favor war with Britain in 1812.
And I hear John C. Calhoun was also a war hawk.
That man hates everything I do. I could not even begin to tell you how many compromises he hated. But yes, he was indeed a war hawk.
You say he hated most of your compromises.
Well, some he disliked, such as my compromise of 1850. But he did, however, like my compromise tariff of 1833.
And what was this compromise?
When Calhoun was obsessed with nullification during Andrew Jackson's presidency, he strongly disliked the force bill, fearing that he himself would be hung. By this time, I was a senator, and I proposed a compromise, which would then end the crisis.
Now this compromise actually helped to save the Union as well.
The compromise was adopted to reduce the rates of the tariff of abominations. South Carolina, which was on the verge of secession from this tariff, then agreed to stay in the Union because of my compromise.
Now, let's take a break from your compromises. And let's talk about what is little known of you. As a farmer and breeder in the South, you were one of the most important.
I introduced Hereford cattle into the United States, and I also became one of the most successful providers of mules in the South.
You were also influential in Lexington, Kentucky.
I was one of the greatest breeders of my time. I even owned the first syndicated thoroughbred stallion in America.
Amazing. Now I want to talk about your most famous compromise.
Which one?
The Compromise of 1850.
I'll start at the beginning with this one. In 1848, when I lost the Whig nomination to Zachary Taylor, I retired to my wondrous Ashland estate in Kentucky. Not even a year later, I was elected back into the United States Senate.
When you got back to the Senate, had anything changed?
We had just gotten out of a war with Mexico, and the Wilmore Proviso had just failed.
Well, what happened on January 29th, 1850?
I had proposed a series of resolutions in accordance to the debate of slavery in the newly obtained areas. I actually had intended to present each term of this compromise individually and have them voted separately. But the South urged me to create a committee of 13 to consider the measures.
Well, what happened on May 8th?
As chair of the committee, I presented my bill. Most of my own Whig party voted it down. The next day, I announced that I would preserve and present each part of the compromise individually, but my tuberculosis forbid me to do so. I left the Senate.
Your series of compromises had earned you a name.
From now on, I should be known as the Great Compromiser.
Henry Clay continued to live and fight his tuberculosis until June 29, 1852, when he died at 75 years of age. In his will, he had freed all of his slaves. He left his estate to his two remaining sons. Clay was buried in Lexington Cemetery in Kentucky. His headstone reads, "I know no north, no south, no east, no west." Thank you.